Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where someone just blatantly ignores you? Whether it's a friend, partner, or even a colleague, being ignored can be incredibly frustrating and confusing. You might find yourself wondering, what did I do wrong? Or, why are they treating me like this? When someone decides to ignore us, it can feel like a blow to our ego and our sense of worth. But what if there was a better way to respond? A way that doesn't involve chasing, reacting, or feeling less than? Today, we're diving deep into how to handle these situations with a calm, grounded approach rooted in Stoic philosophy. This isn't about getting even or playing games. It's about taking control of your own reactions, protecting your peace, and yes, giving them a powerful reminder that their behavior doesn't define you. We'll be covering 7 powerful strategies to help you not only respond when someone ignores you, but also shift the dynamic in a way that builds your self-respect and keeps you in control. When you embrace these approaches, folks, you'll find that you don't need to rely on anyone else's attention to feel valued. Let's take a quick look at what we'll be covering today. First, we'll explore why someone might be ignoring you. Understanding the reason behind someone's behavior can give you clarity and help you see things objectively. Maybe it's not about you at all, or perhaps it's a reflection of something they're dealing with personally. Either way, knowing the potential reasons can bring a sense of calm and perspective. Next, we'll discuss the importance of controlling what you can. In Stoicism, one of the key teachings is to focus on what's within our control and let go of what isn't. When someone ignores you, it's tempting to try and figure them out or change their behavior. But the truth is, you can't control someone else's actions. What you can control, however, is how you choose to respond. By focusing on your own reactions, you reclaim your power and start to see that their behavior doesn't have to dictate how you feel. We'll then move on to a crucial step, shifting the focus back to yourself. When someone ignores us, it's easy to become overly focused on them, thinking about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what they might be feeling. But by turning your attention back to yourself, you're putting your energy where it truly matters. Instead of losing yourself in thoughts about someone who's not giving you the time of day, you're investing in your own growth, well-being, and happiness. And here's an interesting one, folks. Reverse psychology. Sometimes the best way to get someone's attention is to show that you don't need it. When you stop chasing or reacting, it can shift the dynamic completely. We'll talk about how using reverse psychology subtly can make them realize that you're not dependent on their acknowledgement. This approach is not about manipulation, it's about showing them that your self-worth isn't tied to their behavior. Next up, we have a powerful Stoic approach, staying calm and unbothered. Imagine the impact it has when someone expects you to be upset, but instead you respond with total calmness. Staying unbothered sends a clear message. It shows that their actions don't have power over you. By cultivating inner peace, you're reinforcing to yourself and to them that you don't need external validation to feel good about who you are. Then we'll discuss an important mindset shift, detaching from the outcome. This is another key teaching of Stoicism. When we detach from needing a specific response or reaction from others, we become more resilient. Detachment allows us to maintain our peace regardless of how someone else behaves. Imagine the freedom in knowing that whether or not they respond, you're still okay. This is a powerful way to protect yourself from the emotional ups and downs that often come with being ignored. Finally, we'll talk about patience and the long game. When someone ignores you, it can be tempting to react quickly, to try and resolve the situation right away. But sometimes, the best response is to simply give it time. Practicing patience doesn't mean passivity, It means allowing things to unfold without forcing an outcome. By taking the long view, you're showing that you're not ruled by immediate reactions or short-term frustrations. Patience demonstrates maturity, self-respect, and control. Each of these strategies, folks, isn't just a reaction, it's a choice. You're choosing to respond in a way that aligns with your values, that protects your peace, and that keeps you in control of your emotions. When someone ignores you, it can be easy to fall into a cycle of overthinking or self-doubt. But by using these Stoic-inspired approaches, you're learning to break free from that cycle. You're reminding yourself that your worth isn't defined by someone else's attention, and that your happiness doesn't rely on anyone's approval. Now, I want you to keep something in mind as we go through these strategies. None of this is about playing games or trying to make the other person feel bad. This is about self-respect. It's about standing strong, not because you're trying to prove something, but because you're honoring yourself. When you learn to respond with calm, clarity, and confidence, you're creating a foundation for relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. Imagine what it would feel like to approach every interaction from a place of inner stability. To know that, regardless of how someone treats you, you have the power to respond in a way that reflects your values and protects your peace. That's what these strategies offer, a way to navigate challenging situations without compromising your integrity or self-worth. So, if you're ready to take control of how you respond when someone ignores you, stay with me. Together, we'll walk through each of these 7 strategies, giving you the tools to handle these situations with grace and strength. By the end, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to protect your peace, stay centered, and respond in a way that's true to who you are. Are you ready? Let's dive into the first strategy, understanding why they might be ignoring you. Sometimes just gaining a little perspective on the why can shift your entire approach. Number 1, understand why they might be ignoring you. All right, folks, let's start with our first strategy, understanding why someone might be ignoring you. This step may seem simple, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do. When someone ignores us, our first instinct is often to take it personally. We start wondering, did I do something wrong? Or why are they treating me like this? But the truth is, there are often deeper reasons behind someone's behavior, and understanding them can help you feel more in control and less reactive. First, let's talk about the importance of perspective. People ignore others for many reasons, and often those reasons have more to do with them than with you. Perhaps they're dealing with their own issues, stress at work, personal insecurities, or maybe even struggles with mental health. When someone is overwhelmed or facing difficulties, they may withdraw as a coping mechanism. By understanding this possibility, you can remind yourself that their behavior might not be about you at all. This perspective helps you see the situation more objectively, keeping you from feeling hurt or frustrated by something that isn't truly personal. Another reason someone might be ignoring you is a need for space. In today's fast-paced world, we're often connected 24/7, and that can be overwhelming. Some people need time alone to recharge, reflect, or focus on their own priorities. If the person who's ignoring you is usually respectful and communicative, this might simply be a case of them needing a break. By recognizing that people have different needs for space and downtime, you're less likely to take it as a personal slight. You're allowing room for understanding, which helps maintain a sense of peace and patience. Then there's the possibility of miscommunication or misunderstandings. Sometimes people pull back or go silent because they feel that a boundary was crossed, or they might have interpreted something you said in a way you didn't intend. If this is the case, Their silence could be a form of self-protection. They may feel hurt or unsure of how to address the issue directly. In situations like this, approaching them with a calm and open attitude can make all the difference. By checking in and showing that you're open to understanding their perspective, you're giving them a chance to clear up any confusion without feeling defensive. Another factor to consider is interest level. While it's not always pleasant to consider, sometimes people ignore us because they're simply not as invested in the relationship as we might be. This can happen in friendships, romantic relationships, or even professional connections. If someone repeatedly ignores you, it might be a sign that their level of interest or commitment doesn't match yours. Instead of feeling hurt, use this as an opportunity to reflect on what you want from this connection and if it's worth investing your energy. Recognizing that not everyone will prioritize us in the same way helps us manage our expectations and protect our peace. Let's also touch on manipulation tactics. Sometimes people use silence or ignoring as a way to gain control or elicit a reaction. This tactic is commonly known as the silent treatment and is often used to make the other person feel uncertain or anxious. By understanding this, you're less likely to react in the way they might expect. Recognize it for what it is, a tactic that reflects more about their insecurities or desire for control than anything about your worth. Instead of responding emotionally, take a step back and remind yourself that you have the power to choose your response. So, how does understanding these potential reasons help? Folks, when you understand why someone might be ignoring you, you're able to approach the situation with a calm, rational mindset. Instead of feeling rejected or angry, you're stepping back and evaluating the situation objectively. This not only protects your peace, but also allows you to respond from a place of confidence rather than insecurity. But here's an important reminder. Understanding doesn't mean excusing all behavior. Just because you can see why someone might be ignoring you doesn't mean you need to accept disrespect or manipulation. This step is about gaining clarity and perspective, not about justifying someone's hurtful actions. If the behavior crosses a line, you have every right to set boundaries and protect yourself. Understanding the why simply helps you decide the best course of action without being overwhelmed by your emotions. Now, let's talk about how to put this into practice. The next time you notice someone ignoring you, pause before you react. Take a deep breath and consider the possible reasons behind their behavior. Reflect on any recent interactions and ask yourself if there might have been a miscommunication. Consider if they could be dealing with personal issues or if they've been acting distant for other reasons. This simple pause can shift your entire mindset, making you feel less vulnerable and more empowered. If this resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I seek clarity" in the comments below. Let this serve as a reminder that clarity is your first step toward control and that understanding the reasons behind someone's behavior allows you to respond with strength and calm. Number 2, focus on what you can control. All right, folks, let's dive into the second strategy, focusing on what you can control. When someone ignores you, it's easy to feel powerless, like you're at the mercy of their behavior. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a valuable lesson. We can't control others, only ourselves. By shifting your focus to what's within your power, you reclaim control of your emotions, your actions, and your sense of peace. This approach isn't just empowering, it's liberating. First, let's talk about why we feel so affected when someone ignores us. Our natural instinct is often to figure out what's going on, to analyze the situation, and even to try to change the other person's behavior. But here's the thing, no matter how much we think or worry, we can't force anyone to treat us the way we want. When we invest our energy trying to change someone else, we're giving away our power, placing our peace and happiness in their hands. Instead of getting caught in that cycle, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, our own responses. So, what can you control in this situation? Your thoughts and reactions are a great place to start. When someone ignores you, you can choose how to interpret their behavior. Instead of assuming the worst or taking it personally, remind yourself that there are countless possible reasons for their silence. You might even say to yourself, "Their actions are theirs, my response is mine." This small mental shift allows you to take back control, reminding yourself that their choices don't have to determine your peace of mind. Another thing within your control is your emotions. It's natural to feel hurt, frustrated, or even rejected when ignored, but we have the power to decide how long we let these emotions linger. Stoicism teaches that our emotions stem from our perceptions. If we perceive the situation as an attack on our worth, we'll feel hurt. But if we choose to see it as a reflection of the other person's own struggles, our emotional reaction changes. Practicing self-compassion and reminding ourselves that it's okay to feel disappointed can help. However, we don't have to let those feelings control us or define our response. Focusing on what you can control also includes taking positive action for yourself. Instead of waiting around or hoping for them to reach out, use that energy to do something fulfilling. Invest time in activities that make you feel productive and happy. Read, work out, pick up a hobby, or spend time with people who uplift you. By directing your focus to things that bring you joy, you're reinforcing the idea that your happiness isn't dependent on someone else's attention. This act of self-care is empowering because it shows that regardless of how someone else behaves, you're committed to your own well-being. An important aspect of controlling what you can is setting boundaries. If someone consistently ignores you or makes you feel undervalued, it may be a sign that you need to reassess the relationship. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your peace and setting clear expectations. By deciding what behavior you're willing to accept, you're taking an active role in shaping your relationships. For example, if a friend or partner frequently ignores you without explanation, you might consider having an open conversation with them about how this affects you. If they're unwilling to communicate, it might be time to limit your emotional investment in the relationship. Boundaries remind you that you have the power to decide who gets access to your energy and attention. Let's look at a practical example of focusing on what you can control. Imagine you've texted a friend and they haven't replied for days. Instead of checking your phone constantly or overanalyzing what you might have done wrong, you shift your focus to things within your control. You remind yourself, "I've done my part by reaching out, and now it's up to them." You decide to use this time for something productive, maybe to work on a personal goal or spend time with supportive friends. By doing this, you're choosing peace over worry, proving to yourself that you don't need to depend on anyone else's response to feel valued. Another valuable part of focusing on what you can control is practicing patience and detachment. When we detach from needing a specific outcome, like expecting someone to reply right away or behave a certain way, we become more resilient. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're choosing to protect your peace regardless of the outcome. By accepting that you can't control everything, you're freeing yourself from unnecessary stress and focusing on what truly matters, your own actions and mindset. If this approach resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I control my peace" in the comments below. Let it remind you that your well-being is in your hands and that no one else's actions have the power to disrupt your inner calm unless you allow them to. And stay with us, folks, because next, we're diving into an empowering strategy that shifts the focus even further back onto yourself. In the next section, we'll explore how to channel your energy into your personal growth and self-respect, reminding you that you don't need external validation to feel complete. You won't want to miss this powerful mindset shift. Number 3. Shift the focus back to yourself. All right, folks, let's talk about something powerful: shifting the focus back to yourself. When someone ignores us, it's easy to get caught up in thoughts about them, why they're acting this way, what they might be thinking, and how we can change their mind. But by focusing so much on the other person, we end up giving away our energy and our power. Instead, what if you chose to redirect all that focus back to yourself? This shift is not only empowering, it's also a reminder that your happiness doesn't depend on someone else's attention. The first step in shifting your focus back to yourself is recognizing where your thoughts are going. When someone ignores you, your mind may naturally drift toward overanalyzing every interaction or wondering how you could change their behavior. But here's the truth: you don't need to figure them out or seek their validation. By turning your attention inward, you're taking a step towards self-respect, deciding that your worth isn't defined by how someone else chooses to act. One of the best ways to start focusing on yourself is by setting new personal goals. Ask yourself, what are some areas in your life where you'd like to grow? Maybe it's your health, career, personal hobbies, or relationships with friends and family. When you set goals that matter to you, you're redirecting your energy to things that bring you fulfillment. This isn't about distraction, it's about recognizing that you are your own best investment. Each time you work on a goal, you're reinforcing the idea that your life is rich, valuable, and complete, with or without anyone else's validation. Another powerful approach is to reconnect with your passions and interests. Think about activities that bring you joy and engagement, whether it's painting, reading, working out, or learning something new. Investing time in these passions not only enriches your life, but also makes you a more interesting, fulfilled person. People are naturally drawn to those who have a full, engaged life. When you're focusing on your own growth and interests, you're cultivating a sense of joy that doesn't depend on others. And folks, that kind of independence is deeply attractive because it shows that you don't need anyone else to feel whole. Practicing self-care and mindfulness is another great way to bring the focus back to yourself. When you're feeling ignored, take it as an opportunity to treat yourself kindly. Spend time on activities that nourish your well-being, whether it's meditation, journaling, or simply taking a walk in nature. Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself, it's about showing that you value your mental and emotional health. By taking time for mindfulness, you're creating a peaceful space within yourself, one that doesn't rely on others for comfort. This practice reminds you that your happiness is your own responsibility, and that's a powerful mindset to carry. Let's talk about the impact this shift can have on your mindset. When you focus on yourself, you're not just filling time, you're actively building a life that feels fulfilling and whole. Instead of waiting for someone else to provide you with validation, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of creating your own joy. This doesn't mean you're ignoring the other person or pretending their actions don't affect you. It simply means that you're prioritizing yourself, recognizing that your energy is too valuable to be spent on someone who isn't reciprocating. Here's a practical example of how shifting the focus back to yourself works. Imagine you're in a situation where a friend or partner has been ignoring you. Instead of overthinking or waiting around, you decide to channel that energy into something productive. Maybe you sign up for a class, spend more time with supportive friends, or take on a new challenge. Not only are you building new experiences and skills, but you're also proving to yourself that you don't need to rely on anyone else to feel valued. This sense of independence becomes a part of your self-respect, showing that your life is full and meaningful, regardless of how someone else behaves. Now, here's an important reminder, folks. Shifting the focus back to yourself isn't about avoiding or ignoring the situation. It's about choosing to prioritize your own well-being over someone else's actions. By focusing on yourself, you're showing that your happiness is in your hands. This shift allows you to approach every interaction from a place of strength and confidence. You're no longer chasing, reacting, or waiting for someone else to acknowledge you. You're standing firmly in your own worth. If this resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I focus on me" in the comments below. Let it serve as a reminder that your energy and time are precious, and you have every right to invest them in yourself. And folks, if you're finding these insights helpful and want more strategies for building strong, fulfilling relationships, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Here at Stoic Relationships, we're dedicated to helping you cultivate the confidence and resilience to create meaningful connections without sacrificing your own well-being. By subscribing, you're joining a community focused on self-growth, empowerment, and timeless wisdom for stronger relationships. And stay tuned, because next we're diving into a strategy that lets you take a powerful, unexpected approach, one that might just change the entire dynamic in a way you hadn't anticipated. You won't want to miss it. Number 4. Use reverse psychology. All right, folks, let's talk about a strategy that might surprise you. Reverse psychology. When someone ignores us, our natural reaction is often to try harder to get their attention. But what if you did the opposite? Instead of seeking their attention, you pull back and show that you're perfectly fine without it. This approach doesn't just protect your peace, it also shifts the dynamic, often making the other person reconsider their behavior. So, how does reverse psychology work in this context? When someone senses that you're completely unaffected by their behavior, it creates curiosity. Ignoring someone usually triggers a reaction, but when you respond by carrying on confidently, it leaves them wondering why you're not affected. Reverse psychology here is about showing that your happiness and self-worth aren't dependent on their attention. This calm, confident response is attractive because it shows that you're secure and unbothered. Let's go through an example. Imagine you've reached out to a friend or partner and they haven't responded. Instead of following up with another message or letting it affect your mood, try the opposite. Go silent as well. Show that you're content without the need for their immediate response. Focus on your own interests and priorities, letting your actions convey that you're living your life fully, regardless of whether or not they're paying attention. This isn't about pretending or playing games. It's about genuinely finding joy in your independence. Reverse psychology also has a way of reminding others of your value. When you stop reaching out or looking for their approval, it gives them space to reflect on what they might be missing. Sometimes, people take attention for granted until it's no longer there. By pulling back, you're subtly reminding them that your presence is something valuable, not something to be taken lightly. This silent reminder often sparks curiosity, drawing them back in naturally, rather than through pressure. It's important to remember that reverse psychology isn't about manipulation. It's about prioritizing your own well-being. You're not trying to win or play games. You're choosing to respond with dignity. When you show that you're unaffected, you're sending a message that you're in control of your emotions and don't rely on external validation. This sense of inner stability is powerful because it makes you attractive and compelling in a natural, effortless way. Now you might be wondering, what if they don't respond even when I pull back? And that's a possibility. But here's the beauty of this approach. Reverse psychology helps you release any attachment to their response. By focusing on yourself and showing confidence, you're building resilience. If they return, it's on your terms. If they don't, you're already moving forward, empowered and independent. This approach ensures that your peace doesn't hinge on anyone else's actions. If this strategy resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I'm confident" in the comments below. Let it serve as a reminder that sometimes the best response is no response at all, and that by focusing on yourself, you're cultivating a presence that others are naturally drawn to. And stay with us, folks, because next we're discussing an approach that lets you maintain control of your emotions in any situation. A mindset that protects your peace and helps you stay grounded. You won't want to miss it. Number 5. Stay calm and unbothered. All right, folks, let's dive into a crucial mindset: staying calm and unbothered. When someone ignores you, it's easy to feel frustrated or let your emotions take over. But responding with calmness and composure sends a powerful message. It shows that you're not swayed by others' actions and that your peace of mind isn't dictated by someone else's behavior. Imagine this: someone decides to give you the silent treatment, expecting a reaction. They may hope to see you upset or desperate for their attention. But instead of reacting emotionally, you remain calm, carrying on with your life as if their behavior hasn't affected you at all. This unbothered response makes it clear that your happiness isn't dependent on them, which is a strong statement of self-respect. Staying calm and unbothered is also beneficial for your own mental well-being. By not allowing someone else's actions to disrupt your peace, you're protecting your energy and focusing on what truly matters. This practice aligns with Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to control our responses rather than reacting impulsively. When you maintain this calm mindset, you're showing resilience, a quality that others admire and respect. One way to cultivate this calmness is by practicing mindfulness. When you feel the urge to react, take a moment to breathe and ground yourself. Remind yourself that their behavior is outside your control, but your response is entirely up to you. This pause allows you to choose a reaction that aligns with your values, rather than letting emotions take the lead. If this approach resonates with you, drop "I'm unbothered" in the comments below. Let it serve as a reminder that your inner peace is yours to protect, regardless of how others behave. And stick around, because next we're exploring a powerful mindset shift that allows you to detach from outcomes and stay centered. This is one you won't want to miss. Number 6. Detach from the outcome. All right, folks, let's talk about a mindset that can transform how you approach relationships: detaching from the outcome. When someone ignores you, it's natural to want a certain response from them, to hope they'll reach out, explain, or even apologize. But when you're overly attached to a specific outcome, you're placing your emotional state in their hands. Detachment, however, allows you to remain calm and centered, no matter how they choose to act. So, what does it mean to detach from the outcome? Detachment isn't about not caring, it's about not letting your peace depend on someone else's behavior. In Stoic philosophy, this concept is key. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, and to let go of what we can't. When you detach from needing a particular response, you're reminding yourself that your happiness doesn't rely on external circumstances. This inner strength allows you to face any situation without feeling overwhelmed or anxious. Detaching from the outcome also means you're freeing yourself from unnecessary stress. Think about it. When you're constantly hoping for a certain response, you're putting your peace on hold. You might find yourself checking your phone, overthinking what you said, or waiting anxiously for a reply. But by releasing this attachment, You're choosing to focus on the present, investing your energy in things that fulfill you rather than waiting for someone else to dictate your happiness. One way to practice detachment is by setting a clear boundary for yourself. When you reach out to someone, for example, give yourself a mental note that their response, or lack thereof, doesn't affect your value. Say to yourself, "I've done my part, and now it's up to them." By doing this, you're accepting that you've acted in alignment with your intentions and values. Whatever happens next is outside your control, and that's okay. This boundary serves as a reminder that you're responsible for your actions, not the reactions of others. Another powerful way to detach is by focusing on your own goals and personal growth. When you pour your energy into activities that bring you joy or help you grow, you're naturally investing less in what others think or how they respond. This shift in focus helps reinforce the idea that your happiness is created from within. By building a life that's fulfilling on its own, you're reminding yourself that you're enough, with or without someone else's acknowledgement. Let's go through a practical example. Suppose a friend or partner has been ignoring your messages. Instead of stressing or wondering what went wrong, remind yourself that you've done what you can. Detach from needing a particular response and turn your attention towards something productive, like working on a hobby, tackling a goal, or spending time with people who appreciate you. This shift not only protects your peace, but also shows that your world doesn't revolve around anyone else's validation. When they do reach out, you'll be in a strong, centered place, rather than feeling anxious or dependent on their response. Detaching from the outcome is also a way to protect your self-worth. When you need a specific response to feel valued, you're allowing external validation to define you. But by letting go of this need, you're affirming that your worth isn't based on how others treat you. This self-assurance is powerful because it shows that you're confident in yourself, regardless of external circumstances. It says, "I value myself enough to not rely on others to make me feel complete." If this approach resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I'm detached" in the comments below. Let it serve as a reminder that you have the power to choose peace and stability, no matter how others respond. And stay with us, folks, because next, we're exploring a quality that takes patience and perspective, a mindset that allows you to see the bigger picture and gives you the strength to move forward confidently. You won't want to miss it. Number 7, practice patience and play the long game. All right, folks, let's dive into a quality that's often overlooked in our fast-paced world, practicing patience and playing the long game. When someone ignores us, it's tempting to seek an immediate reaction or resolution. We might feel the urge to confront them, demand answers, or force clarity. But patience, the ability to wait without anxiety, can be one of your greatest strengths. When you're patient, you're not rushed or pressured by the actions of others. You're able to take a step back, giving the situation time to unfold naturally. Patience isn't about being passive or doing nothing. It's about being intentional and calm in your approach. When someone ignores you, practicing patience allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. It reminds you that not every situation requires an immediate reaction. Some issues resolve themselves over time, and by stepping back, you give the other person space to reflect and potentially reconnect on their own terms. Let's look at the benefits of patience in handling these situations. First, patience helps protect your peace. When you're not rushing or reacting impulsively, you're preserving your energy and maintaining control over your emotional state. You're not letting someone else's behavior dictate how you feel. Instead, you're choosing to stay centered, waiting until you have a clear perspective before deciding your next move. This calm approach not only preserves your peace, but also allows you to avoid unnecessary conflict or drama. Another advantage of patience is that it allows you to see the bigger picture. When we react immediately, we often focus only on the short term and can miss the long-term impact of our actions. By playing the long game, you're looking beyond the immediate situation, considering the broader dynamics of the relationship. Sometimes giving someone time and space leads to a healthier connection in the long run. Patience shows maturity, and it sends a message that you're not desperate or dependent on their immediate attention. You're confident enough to wait and see how things develop naturally. A practical way to practice patience is by setting small reminders for yourself. For example, if you're tempted to reach out or check in frequently, remind yourself to wait a little longer before responding. Give yourself a designated time frame, like 24 hours or even a few days, before deciding on any action. This small buffer period helps you gain perspective, and often you'll find that by the time the waiting period is over, your urge to react has lessened. By holding back, you're reinforcing your emotional independence and showing that you're in control of your responses. Now, folks, patience doesn't mean you're ignoring your feelings or pretending not to care. It's about choosing a response that aligns with your values rather than reacting impulsively out of frustration or anxiety. Practicing patience lets you see the situation from a more balanced perspective, allowing you to make thoughtful decisions that protect your self-respect and peace. If this approach resonates with you, take a moment to affirm it by dropping "I'm patient" in the comments below. Let this affirmation remind you that you have the strength to wait, to observe, and to act only when it truly feels right. If this message resonated with you, then it's time to take the next step. Don't just walk away from this video and forget everything you've learned. Take action. Right now, hit that subscribe button and join a community of men who are committed to mastering their emotions, their relationships, and their lives. Don't wait for the next time she ignores you to start building yourself up. Start now. Start today. This isn't just about dating advice. It's about becoming the man you're meant to be, the man who doesn't react, but takes control.